Our next story is of Judas. It says Judas turns against Jesus. And we talked about that when we were learning about Jesus' helpers. We know that there were 12, and we know that Judas was the one that betrayed Jesus because he had more love for money than for Jesus in his heart. And boys and girls, we're going to also, in this story of Judas turning against Jesus, in the story, Jesus gives his disciples, Jesus explains to them that this will be the last time that you will be eating with me. So a lot happens in this story, and we will continue then from Judas turning against Jesus, and then we will find out the next story will be where Jesus is in the Garden of Gethsemane. Judas turns against Jesus. Among the enemies of Jesus, there was a man named Judas. He was one of the disciples. He was a thief, and he would do almost anything for money. Well, one day he met other enemies of Jesus, and he said to them, "What will you give me if I tell you when there is a good chance for you to catch Jesus?" "We'll give you 30 pieces of silver," they answered. Judas took the offer. He watched every day for a good chance for the enemies to catch Jesus. The chance soon came. It came right after Jesus and his disciples had eaten their last supper together. Jesus said to Peter and to John, "I need you to go into the city and find a room for us where we can eat the Last Supper." Well, Peter and John found the room and made it ready for the supper. In the evening, Jesus and the disciples, the 12 disciples, went to the room, and they sat at a table. Well, during the supper, Jesus said, "One of you will tell my enemies where they can catch me." Well, the disciples were in great fear. Each one asked, "Is it I, Lord? Is it I? Is it I?" Even Judas asked, "Is it I?" And Jesus answered Judas, "Yes, it is you." And soon after this, Judas left the room. He went and met the enemies of Jesus. "Tonight," Judas said, "I will lead you to the Garden of Gethsemane." Jesus will be there alone with his disciples. It will be easy to catch him. "Whoa, how in the world are we going to know which one Jesus is?" the enemies asked. "Watch whom I kiss," Judas answered. "That one will be Jesus." So here, boys and girls, you can see up in the corner, here's Judas, and you will see that he has the 30 pieces of silver that he received from the enemies of Jesus for the information of where they could find Jesus. And then down here, boys and girls, you will see Jesus and his disciples eating their last meal together. And boys and girls, we call that last meal, that last supper, Holy Communion. And boys and girls, sometimes you hear Holy Communion called the Eucharist. Sometimes you will hear the word the Last Supper, the Lord's Supper. And this is a special meal that Jesus prepared for each and every one of us to remember him. And here, boys and girls, you will see that Judas went and told the enemies, "I know exactly where you can find him. Follow me to the Garden of Gethsemane, and there you will find him. And the enemies, they were, well, how are we going to know which one is Jesus? Do you think they really, really didn't know? But this is how it was to be. Judas was to give Jesus a kiss. And when the enemy saw that, they were going to arrest Jesus.